I've tried over and over to be happy again, but I can't seem to get over thinking this will never end. Too many beautiful nights I spend my time alone. Can't seem to have an appetite for getting up out the door. But I'll get my shit together one of these days, and I'll start to feel better. Maybe I can change, and I'll realize it's not so bad once I get out of my head. I'll get my shit together one of these days. I've tried every morning to wake up an optimist, but all I can do today is just try to exist. Too many years gone to waste on what was never me, waiting for things to change, never knowing what I need. But I'll get my shit together one of these days, and I'll start to feel better. Maybe I can change, and I'll realize it's not so bad once I get out of my head. I'll get my shit together one of these days.
Okay, here we are in the studio in Ouray, and on the way here this morning, I stopped and I saw that photo and I thought, oh, there's a painting. Well, it's starting to spit snow and a little breezy. It wasn't real conducive to painting on a location, so I went ahead and took a photo and we'll paint from that today. I penciled in the sketch, as you can see here, what we're gonna do. And I've got my my palette ready to go with some white gouache, titanium white gouache, yellow ochre, Windsor. I think this is a Windsor yellow light, maybe a lemon yellow, and a medium yellow, cad yellow, orange, cad red, lizard crimson, burnt sienna, sap green, cerulean blue, cobalt blue, French ultramarine blue, and some Prussian blue. So let's get started here and see what we can do. I want to lay in. There's cloudy skies, so I'm going to mix up a little bit of cobalt blue and just put a little bit of sky showing through these clouds, and then for the cloud color, I'll take a little French ultramarine blue, some burnt sienna. It's my go-to gray. You can cool it down, you can warm it up. Lots of variety. Make a nice big puddle here because I'm gonna need some of it. And then I'm just going to wash it.
I've tried over and over to be happy again, but I can't seem to get over.
I just got a little sponge here that I can hit the brush with to take some of the water off. get some clean water, come back in and soften these edges a little bit. All right, that looks doable. Now let's see what else we got here. So I've got these mountains, these layered slopes coming in, and Mount Abram is the featured mountain back here. And then I've got this little barn down here in the horse pasture. And cows, just livestock. I've seen a mixture of animals in there. The snow is all pretty blue. So it's a real light wash. Not a lot of sun. There's a little bit of sun right up in here, and we're gonna capture that. But I'm gonna put this wash in for the snow. That's all influenced by the lack of sun, clouds. And there'll be, what do I want to say, parts of white. I'm going to try to leave the natural white of the paper. Slave to the photo, let me put it that way, huh? Now these are cottonwood trees right in here. In the winter, well, I was gonna say their winter glory. I guess it all depends on how you feel about that, but I'm gonna soften this down. And they're grays, the winter grays, but they can be kind of warmish on the warm side of the palette. So we're gonna put a little ochre. Yellow ochre. And if I kind of drag the paper is a Sanders Waterford, and it's I believe it's either a cold press or rough maybe, but it has some tooth to it, so that helps with dragging this brush across here and creating it kind of skips along there, and to give you a little bit of sense of some snow in the foreground. Use a little bit of, so I've got this burnt sienna and French ultramarine blue here. And I'm gonna hit it a little bit of a sap green, or maybe a, there's some Prussian blue in there. But what I wanted to do is get a little bit of a greenish color to it, so I can get some of these trees as forestry in here. So far, I notice this is I'm using just this brush. It's an old Robert Simmons S21 synthetic flat plano. And this in here is going to be a lot of, I'm going to go ahead and create that little wash in there that I can darken up with these trees. Get in and set off some of these cottonwoods. So a lot of this isn't going to be real defined, but we're gonna try something here and see. See what happens. So I'm going to take some of this burnt sienna. I'm going to make a dark brown, if you will. Where they were, where I wanted them to be. Now you see how that bleeds into that bluish color? Yeah, this is great. Now I'm gonna try to get a fine line here. Create a sharp edge, not a fine line, but create that edge there. Now what's going to happen is this is going to bloom or bleed up into that wet. I'm going to pick up some of this excess moisture. See, it's not quite dry enough, but we'll just get another layer. Yeah, I'm really liking what's happening in here. I want to try to preserve that and get over here and get the photo back up on the computer. So this foreground area can be a lot darker and bank in here, so I'll have to come back in. So this is kind of starting to dry. Might be, this is wetter over here than here, but we'll see how this works. You never know with watercolor. I say you can't control it. Well, you kind of can, but you just have to be ready for it to do its own thing. So part of the paint on that brush came off. Yeah, this is kind of neat. Well, let's see. What do we got? What do we got to do here? So the snow, this white is a little bit white, as is most of the whites in here. Ah, come in, come in.
Hey, how's it
Okay, here's where we left off, and I think we've got some good things going here. I just need to improve on some of it. A little help here and there. And as this dries, it'll take on some characteristics that may or may not. See what I'm doing right here? Just picking up. I kind of like what we've got going here. With the sun shining back in here, I'm gonna go ahead and soften this up a little bit. Get rid of that line that was there. And what's this is gonna happen, what that's gonna do is bring this cloud formation in. And maybe a little bit of that yellow. It give me indication that there's some sunlight back here, right there, see? See how that worked? Kind of like that. There's a little attention up there. So we're gonna mix up, darken this up a little. Get back in here again. Part of what I want to do, I'm not referencing the photo anymore. I use the photo to get the basics. And now I want to make it a painting, because it's not about a photo. I'm going to the roof on this barn is a little sloppy, the roof line. So I'm going to straighten it up. Now, I can do that in one of two ways. I could take a little Chinese white or whitewash and straighten out this roof. Or I could straighten it out by creating a dark under here, and I think I'm going to try that first. So I want to get some more burnt sienna because I want to apply a little attention over here. I want to get some. Let's see how this works. And then there's another part. So there's two levels on this barn. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because the folks who own this place might see this painting. And if it looks kind of like their barn, they could be inclined to buy it. I think what I'll do too, to help this just a little bit, is to darken the foliage on those cottonwoods. For that, I'm going to go back to this flat brush I was using. So now let's look back here and see, get the reflection off. Yeah, I think that's going to work just fine. Now I am going to use some of that white gouache, but I'll show you how I'm going to employ it. So we've got this fence line in here. That's the next project. And I want a dark, and again my go-to dark is French ultramarine blue, and If you ever built a fence, these are braces. There's a gate right here. And then after the braces, the regular posts. That's a little wet, and I want these fence lines to kind of not become real prominent. Just a suggestion. It's kind of trailing off into the distance.
I've tried over and over to be happy again.
The wire gates
Can't seem to get over
stays.
it'll never end. Too many beautiful nights I spend my time alone. Can't seem to have an appetite for getting up out the door.
Little random marks here and there just to give it some interest, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I want to give this white gouache an extra squirt. So I've gone from that bigger brush down to this smaller brush. And where I want to go with some of this white gouache, again, call a little more interest to that barn. A little attention to it, I should say. And you'll notice as this dries, the gouache dries, it's not near as dark as or bright. It'll tone down. It's all about water control, water and pigment. All right, might be a good time to just call it good.
Hello. Hi.